Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. How are we doing? Oh my goodness. 3 years on booktube and it's time for me to publicly shame myself. As you can see, these are my bookshelves, but no, these are not all of the books in my house. No, these are not all of the shelves in my house. And so today I am giving you every single frickin' book in my house and all of the books I have not read. I will be kind of doing this in different formats depending on like the room and the shelves that we're in, but for the most part I'm going to be pointing out to you guys the books that I have read. We're going to keep a tally of the books that I have read versus unread. And then we're also going to be pointing out the books that I am most excited about, the books that really have been screaming at me for a while to read, that I've just really been meaning to get to. This is a fun little video for you guys to tell me which books I should be prioritizing, which books you want to hear reviews for or see more of, so on, so forth. So it's collaborative, if you will. But the only two books that are not featured in this video are the books that are by my bedside. The two books that you have not seen in this entire video will be Skyshade by Alex Astor, which is the third book in the Lightlark series. It's by my bedside. I really need to read it. We don't need to discuss it further. And the other book that I have by my bedside is Atomic Habits by like James something, I think. And yeah, I attempted the 75 hard like 2 years ago maybe, and that was the book that I like told myself I was going to read. Did I stick with it? Absolutely not. So those are the two books that are not included in this video. Everything else, the other book not included, I don't think I filmed. This is a little black book by Otega Uwagba, and I really need to read this. It's all about a toolkit for working women, and I happen to be that. So this is the other book that I don't think I technically featured. And then because we're here, I just recently hauled this. This is His Mortal Demise. I've been already collecting books. It's shameful. So there, might be a few straggler books that you haven't seen yet before. I have a spreadsheet. I've cataloged every book that I own now. Everything is in the Libid. I think that's what the app is called. You can get it on your phone. It's also on the computer. So I will be eventually doing my little data spreadsheet thing when I'm not so busy, and I will have a very nice uniform statistics of all the books that I own, all the books that I want to read, so on and so forth. But that'll be for the future, and for now we just get a look at the shelves and the books that I have. So please, I hope you enjoy. I will see you guys at the end. Okay, so this is the first shelf that I'm showing you guys. This is my pink shelf. I have my shelves organized by color and then by genre. So these are fantasy books primarily, which are mostly first books in series or standalones, and occasional series that can go together because they match and look nice on the shelves together. But I try to keep series together the best that I can. So I'm currently going through and turning around the books that I have already read and leaving the unread books facing out for you guys. And now to show you some of the books that I'm most excited for. Blood and Moonlight. I've had this forever. I'm also excited for anything Emily Lloyd-Jones. My goodness. I really want to do just a reading vlog, all of her stuff. Adrienne Young, I love her. Haven't read any of her adult books. So I need to read The Unmaking of June Farrow desperately. Everybody says that it's very good. I have read a little bit of Alice in Wonderland. I've read the first book. I haven't continued. I've read some of his poetry, so things to continue. This Curse of Saints, look at that cover. Oh my god, it's so pretty. I want to read it desperately. And I think the last book on the shelf I'm desperate to read is The Seven Faceless Saints. Also, stunning cover. I would love to read it. I just like having my shelves like these. I don't know. This is the next little section of my shelves. We've got The Temptation of Magic, which I recently got. Beautiful. Excited. I also have the Scarlet Alchemist by Kaylee Lee Baker. I just need to dedicate time to her. She deserves it. And The Jasmine Throne, which I desperately need to read. Oh my god. Now continuing on, this is where the rainbow really kicks off. We've got the reds to the greens, and I have read a decent amount of these. It's kind of shameful showing you just how many things I have and have not read, but I've read some. I've read Iron Widow. I've read Legends and Lattes. The Phoenix Keeper I read, Bonesmith, The Jasad Heir. It is sad turning around books that I have read but also have not loved. The Jasad Heir, is one of my favorites. Don't even pretend to come for me for that. I do love that book. But the rest of these are kind of a lot of 3 stars, a lot of just meh books on my shelves, which is kind of disappointing. But showing you some of the books. Oh, and I've also read Mexican Gothic. Got to turn that too. But it is a little disappointing to have so many less exciting books read, but that just means the rest of these have to be good, right? Together We Burn is a book that I really want to get to. I've had this on my shelf not quite the longest, but for a while. Their Vicious Grace is one that I'm hoping to get to also soon. I've heard nothing but good things. The second book is out. I don't know if it's a duology or trilogy. The Kiss of Deception is so high on the list. I want to read this so bad. So priority for sure, must read. Graceling is a book that I should really read. Yikes. And then we've also got Sleep Like Death and After the Forest, which are both gorgeous copies. I think both of these are the great ones. But I really want to read these ones as well. But yeah, this is the first full top shelves of books read to unread. And now we've got my greens to teal books. We're getting a little bit closer to the blue. I want to read a lot of these. I've read a couple. The Hazelwood is one of the first books that I read when I started my booktube channel. I've, of course, read Heartless Hunter. This precious book has now gone to my Romantasy shelf, so I have reorganized since this video. Jade Fire Gold I read. That's another Owl Crate book. I read a lot of Owl Crate books, it seems. The Spice Road was Fairy Loot. Feybound did not enjoy. Think it needs to go somewhere else. But books that I'm really excited for. The Forest Grimm. The art in this book is so stunning. I also really want to read The Gilded Wolves. I love Roshina Chokshi, so the fact I haven't read more is painful, hurts. I'm also excited for kind of A Feather So Black. This is a Swan Lake retelling, so I just feel like I gotta give it a try. Sunbear Trials, Aidan Thomas. Wonderful. Great author. I just need to binge. Voyage of the Damned I'm so about, and a song of silver flame like light, flame like night. Also interested in reading. My goodness, I can word good. The next little one, this is mostly TJ Klune, which I've read a lot of, but I also really need to read Until We Shatter and Gods of Jade and Shadow, and then Wolf Song. But the rest I have read, which is exciting. Now we go into my still kind of teal but more blue leaning shelf, flipping over the ones that I have read. This is the shelf where it's like, ooh, I need to read more of the books off my shelf. This is definitely the one. I've read those 2 that I've already flipped, but then I've also read Evocation, which I have 4 copies of. Book subscriptions do you dirty sometimes, and I've also read Book of Night, which I liked. Like I mentioned earlier, gotta read more Adrienne Young, gotta read her adult stuff. Big fan. I really want to read a lot of like the gray blues. I don't know why they call to me. To Kill a Shadow, A Study in Drowning, the Invocations, all beautiful editions that I very much would like to read, of course. But that's the big gist. I also want to read These Hollow Vows, which was gifted to me by Daphne. Thank you so much. I want to read more Fae books. So yeah, this is my little teal shelf. And now we go on to proper blue. I've also got like my little ombre shelf area. I've read less of these, which is big pain. I've read TJ Klune. Is that it? Yeah. Woof. Okay, so I really want to read Dreams Lie Beneath. That is so high on my list. Twin Crowns is also one that I'm really interested in just because it's such a pretty edition. I want to read it, but this shelf is embarrassing. Okay, next shelf. Cruel is the Light. So, yes. Okay, bookmarks. I have those bookmarks. Cruel is the Light is one of my favorite editions I think I've received in 2025. It's so freaking pretty. I also would really like to read Your Bones, My Blood. And I would also like to read my newest, The Beast We Bury, and a book that's been on my TBR for quite a long time, Beyond the Black Door. Massive need to read. Okay, continuing on, books that I've read on my leaning into purple shelves. Piranesi, incredible. I've read a a nice amount of these. This is maybe one of the better shelves to show off, but also I stack things, which makes my life difficult. I've read The Starling House. I want to read less of these books, which maybe said something about the need of unhauling books in my life, because not too many of these books really jump out like I need to read them. Midnight in the Everwood is a great example because, woof, I've attempted this one twice. Third time will be the charm. If I cannot get into it the third time I read it this winter, it's gone. I can't keep doing this to myself. It's just not working out. Like I already mentioned, Sleep Like Death. Here's another beautiful copy I have that I would like to read. But yeah, this shelf, I think, is a little bit lackluster in terms of options and picks for books that I would like to get to. This is my cute little kind of pink shelf. I don't have a lot here, but I have not read any of these except for The Stardust Thief, which the sequel's just come out, which is exciting for those who are interested in. But yeah, I'm so about these books. I'm a little bit nervous about the Spell Shop. The Darkness Within Us, I believe, is a sequel of some sort, a companion sequel even, so we'll see. Now is when the lighting gets a little bit tricky. These are my black books, which are hidden towards the bottom of my shelves, so they're a little bit darker, and I do apologize, but you're not missing out on a whole lot. Here we have books that I'm interested in. Mirage. This has been on my TBR physically for years. I got this in high school from Outgrade forever ago, so that's definitely, a contender next time I have to read a backlist book. The Whispering Dark is one I really want to read. Defy the Night, I'm so about. Bridget Gamer and I don't know, for friends. After the Forest, another beautiful edition. Oh my god, she's so pretty. Continuing on a little bit further down, we've got The Darkening, which I am just obsessed with. The idea, the concept, the cover. It calls to me. I don't know if I pull out The Depths, but I also really want to read that, and The Luminaries, The Poison Season, just some absolutely stunning covers. I would really like to get to them soon. Now we go into, these are all my black books, but still rainbowtized. I can't help myself. All of Our Demise I have not yet read, which is painful for me, but continuing on books that I have read, that's my favorite book ever, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. I would love to read The Enchanted Sonata this December, this Christmassy time, this winter. It's a Nutcracker retelling, which is a favorite of mine. Like I mentioned, All of Our Demise, shameful. I got the audio arc for this in 2022. Woof. Continuing, The Ones We Burn, I was so excited about. I've heard not great reviews, but it still it calls to me for some reason. The Year of the Reaper is another I really want to get to. I could just be the cover though. I don't know. Moving on, it's really hard to see these, and I'm so sorry, but The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi I have read, and I think that might be it. Oh, The Enchantment of Ravens I've also read. A nice fae book, my first ever fae book. I really would like to read A Sorcery of Thorns, which is also the same author, Margaret something. The Longest Autumn, gorgeous edition. I really want to get to that at some point, probably in autumn, which would make sense to me. Like I mentioned, A Sorcery of Thorns. You can kind of see over at the side, Hunger Games. I feel like everybody's been on that hype train. I want to get on it. I've never read them. I gotta. And then we've got my little, I guess, blacky brown shelf, if you will. I have the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which I read none of. I have Gallant, which I have not read, but I have read Legends and Lattes, Don't Let the Forest In, incredible book. Everybody should read it. It's so good. Getting ahead of myself, I'm sorry. My narration is getting too hyped. So, like I said, one book I loved, one book I did not love. What can you do? Masters of Death by Olivia Blake is one that I hope to get to at some point, but most importantly, Emily Lloyd Jones. I don't know what it is about her books. They just call to me. I gotta do it. And the last big book I'm excited about is The Sin on Their Bones. Oh, what a gorgeous cover. It's so pretty. I also, over at the side, and don't really touch or pay attention to, can't spell treason without T. So those are my little brown books that I read so on. which is like, I'll take it. It's fine. And then I have my bookmarks here as well for book subscription boxes. Now we move on to my fantasy series. This shelf, you'll be proud, all of them are read except for the few Snagler for the Fallen series, because I haven't finished the series. I will this year though. But these are some of my favorite series ever. I also haven't read Saint. Oh, I need to read Saint as well. But yeah, these are some of my favorite YA fantasy books that I've read from when I started YouTube. So good. I've also read all of these books, which I obsessed with. I will say Girls of Storm and Shadow is the least favorite. Sorry. Continuing on, we've got my Carnival shelf, if you will, which is one of my favorite shelves I have. I need to read Finale and the spin-off series Once Upon a Broken Heart. I need to read Garden of the Cursed and its sequel, and again another sequel, When Night Breaks. I'm bad at reading sequels. It's a flaw, but this is a priority shelf that I want to make sure I read everything I can on. Continuing on, we've got more series. We've got the Pirate Queen, I believe, Pirate King's Daughter series, which I need to read the Mother's third story that came out recently. We also have Foul Days and its sequel, Monstrous Nights, which is the Owl Crate edition. So pretty. Oh my god, I love them. I also have the Buried and the Bound. I hate that word. Buried and the Bound and its sequel, which I would like to read. Probably because they're giving autumn vibes. I'm thinking autumn. And again, more series. I've read... Oh my god, I just turned it around and I don't know the name anymore. I've also read Emily Wilde. I really need to continue on in the Belladonna series. There we go. It came to me. I'm also interested in, oh my god, this edition of Cruel Illusions, which you can't see, is so pretty. I need to read it badly. It's a vampire book and that's all I know, but obsessed. I also want to get to Lake's Edge, but we'll see. This is a shameful shelf. I've read none. Not a single thing on here I've read. I will at some point. I feel like I need videos specific for them though. Continuing on, we've got the Inherited Games, which I've read, and the Bone Siren series, which I read in high school. I would like to continue and finish at some point. I've also read Lobizona. I've been discouraged to continue with the series. I don't know. Yikes. And then I have The Sun and the Void, which is the most beautiful book I think might be on my shelves, and I DNF'd it 20 pages or something in. And then I have the Discovery of Witches series to get to. And then we get to, I'm sorry for the shaky cam of this. I was holding my camera over the chair. My bad. But this is my favorite Dark Academia shelf, basically. So, A Lesson in Vengeance. We've got Confessions, If We Were Villains. I love these books so much. I desperately adore Dark Academia, as you'll notice soon, but the books that I need to still read is The Secret History, which I also soft DNF'd because I don't like Donna Tartt's narration for the audiobook. And then I also have the just Silver in the Bone, which I really want to get to. Just got the sequel recently. Got to do it. And then we have my full Dark Academia shelf, which, she's so pretty. She's a prized possession of mine. I really enjoy her. These are just the Dark Academia books and also Book Eaters because I couldn't fit it anywhere. But these books are lesser read. They're kind of the books that I keep on my shelf for, the right time will come along and I'll pick them up and it'll be perfect, but I have to be in the right mood for it, which is, maybe not the best way to go about reading books, but here we are. I've also read The Starless Sea, which I need to give a reread at some point now that I have a physical copy because that was a rough read. Books I'm excited about. A Deadly Education. I've had it forever. Really want to read that. The Atlas 6 have read. My bad. But A Deadly Education, I really want to get to. There's 3 books. It's complete. I just got to do it. It sounds like something right up my alley. The Will of the Many, I have plans to read here soon. This is a BookTube favorite of everybody, so I got to jump on the bandwagon. You know how it is. I also have... that one's the Dark and Drowning Tide I'm kind of excited for, but more excited. Plain Bad Heroines. I had bought this book years ago, and it's so chunky, and I'm so discouraged, but there's artwork inside it, which is why I purchased it. It is top of the list. I gotta read it. And then How to Murder Your Employer is another recent purchase that I'm very excited about. And then we have another edition of A Study in Drowning and another edition of The Whispering Dark. So, all good things. This shelf, prized possession. Kayla, look away. I don't think you're watching this, but if you are, don't look. This is my Literally Dead book club shelf where every book that I've purchased for the Literally Dead book club goes here. The only one I have not read yet is You Are Fatally Invited, which by the time you're seeing this, I've probably read it because it was the May, March. It was a recent pick. So it's probably going to be read by the time you see this, but I love the shelf. It's so pretty. And then we continue on to another favorite shelf of all read books. My Erin A. Craig Shrine. I love her. I love her so much. This is the one. And then we go up to adult for the most part. Horror, where lightly color coded still. I can't help myself. Mr. Magic, I really enjoyed. The Haunting of Hill House sucked. Don't recommend. It's a terrible, terrible quote unquote sequel. But these are the ones I haven't read. I am bad at reading horror books on my shelves, but The Last House on Needless Street, I gotta read it. It's gotta happen. Sci-fi horror is something I feel like I gotta be in a mood for. My Best Friend's Exorcism I'm excited for. I'm going to be reading Black Sheep for a video here soon, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I'm so about a lot of the horror picks that I have. A lot of these are book subscriptions or thrifted finds. I feel like I listen to a lot more horror books than I physically read, probably because they're more experimental. You never know what you're gonna like sometimes, and so I just, play it safe by reading them audibly instead. But This Cursed House I'm currently in the middle of. I had to return the audiobook, so waiting for that. I loved Horror Movie. I already turned that one around, but that one was phenomenal. Yellowface is very good. People love it. It's a widespread enjoyment. The Drowned Woman I've read and always forget that I read. There's something about the book that's just a little bit sadly forgettable. But books that I'm excited for, Lakewood. This was a thrift find and it was one of the best finds I could have gotten. I'm so excited to pick it up at some point. I'm also pretty excited for A Head Full of Ghosts or any Paul Tremblay after this point. I just need to dive in further. I also really want to dive into Ruth Ware. I've got The Turn of the Key and the other one, In a Dark Wood, I think, and then Stephen King's It, which I've said I would read for 2 years in a row, and I have not touched it. It's just too big, it's too chunky. I can't. And then we have mostly YA horror up here, so House of Hollow, Horrid, The Dead in the Dark, Coldest Touch, which I wouldn't go so far as to say it's really horror, it's YA, paranormal romance kind of, but it looks good up here. I've read Watch Over Me, which is a beautiful face out. That book made me cry. It is stunning. It is gorgeous. Delicious Monsters, also a beautiful cover. Good book. One of my favorite audiobook experiences was for The Honey. Oh, it's so good. Such a good book. I really love YA horror. It just tickles my fancy. What can I say? But books that I'm looking forward to and excited about. Slewfoot is a big one. I'm also hoping to maybe read this one soon. It's one of those weird things of it has to be the right timing, Halloween night, but it's just not gonna happen. But Sadie, very excited. This has a podcast format that I'm looking forward to. I also have The Project by the same author. Recent purchases, What the Woods Took by an author I've liked it before, and Hungerstone, new author, new book. She's so pretty. I want to read her so bad. We've also got What Big Teeth and the Drowned Girl. One of those things. I'm excited for these books. They're good books. I also have the Asylum series. The first book has been lent to a friend for a couple years now, but I have that series as well. And then finally, we have my favorites horror shelf, kind of. We've got The Death of Jane Lawrence proudly on display. I will be the biggest hype man forever. But the only book on the shelf I haven't read is The Bloody Chamber, which I do have high hopes for. But we have A Diary of Blood, Mayfly, The Har. Continuing on, we have left the white shelves. We are now just on bookshelves. These are current, soon to be read TBR books. And then we have my graphic novels. We have my little Heartstopper shrine. I love Heartstopper so much. Can't wait for the 6th. I will die. The only one I have not read is Nick and Charlie. It's one of those things where it's got to be the right time. I gotta savor it, because once it's gone, I'm out, and there's nothing more until book 6 comes out, and who knows when that's gonna happen. And then continuing on further down, we have Fruits Basket, which I actually finished this year. Incredible manga, incredible anime, highly recommend. And then we have just my mishmash of graphic novels. We've got Lore Olympus, which I'm caught up on. I'm currently reading them on Webtoons. I've got the Scott Pilgrim but comics. And then we've got things like Squire. I've read the first novel of Monster. I need to continue on with Orange, which I did enjoy. I've read Lock and Key, and I need to read more of my D&D graphic novels. That's a high priority for me. But yeah, this is my small collection for how much I love graphic novels. And now we're going to continue on to stills, and I'm sorry for this. These are my book of the months. They're hidden in a closet with horrid lighting, so I thought it would just be easier to show you the ones that I've read and the ones that I have not read, so that you at least have a visual aid of what's going on in my closet. I also have pictures of what's behind my couch, which is unfortunate and annoying for you, but these are the children's books that I don't really have on display, but do still have, not high enough to want to read. And then up here is junk, I'm sorry, but these are my musical books. I love theater. There you have it. I'm going to kind of quickly run through the classics because these are books that I share with my partner. It's not just mine, but also I don't read classics as often as I've purchased them over the years. They're always an aspiration, never so much books that I'm like absolutely going to read on a timeline. It's just they're there for when I want them. I have a couple projects in planned. Who knows when they'll happen, but there are some projects planned for reading classics and getting through some of these, but these are also shared with somebody else, so I don't feel as guilty about having them on display. It's just that we can pretend to be a little pretentious in this house, you know? Continuing, we've got my fantasy books. These are more adult fantasy, more epic high fantasy books. We've got Lord of the Rings, but then we continue on to just classic high fantasies. A lot of these I desperately need to read. I find myself more intimidated by them, more so than not. The one I have read is The Helm of Midnight, which I did actually really enjoy, and I need to continue on with the series at some point. I don't know when though, but I am looking forward to a lot of these. Masks of Mirrors is one that I'm soon hopefully going to finish a buddy read I'm behind on. I'm just very excited for a lot of these though. And then above that, we're kind of leaning more into the sci-fi books. Here is my Red Rising saga. Just shrine, if you will. I love these books. I'm doing a read along right now. And then quickly there was Nona. I'm sorry. Again, bad lighting. What was I thinking? These are sci-fi books. Mostly my boyfriend's sci-fi books, so I don't take claim to a lot of these. I'm not a big sci-fi reader. There are a few that I do hope to get to or have read, like some of the Wild Build I've read, but I'd say I'm mostly a fantasy reader, and sci-fi can intimidate me a little bit. The 5th season, The City We Became, those are two that I'm excited for. The Third Body Problem I want to read at some point, but overall I'm not like in love with sci-fi. And then next we have my, I guess, like desert fantasy slash Asian author fantasy shelf, where I kind of just put them together. They look good together. These are some books that I'm either highly anticipating to read, like The Poppy Ward or Ember in the Ashes, or books that I have started the series for or finished, like Jade City. City of Brass is one that I absolutely am in love with and am mad I have not continued. And then we continue on. This is kind of my like almost vampire gothic shelf, if you will. I try to theme these shelves a little bit more so than by color. These ones have like genre specific fantasies going on, so these are more aesthetically nice to look at, but also a little bit vampire and gothic, which I'm a big fan of. I've read a decent amount. The Dagger and the Flames, something I need to read. Ordinary Monsters I gotta read, which I've heard mixed things about. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Well. I don't think it's vampires at all, but it looks good here, so there you have it. Then we also have the God Killer series, which is hidden in the darkest possible corner you could ever find, so I need to read Faithbreaker. I have it currently right now, and I'm so excited. And then we pan over to the Greek gods type of side of things. Not necessarily Greek, I guess just mythology in general. It's loosely mythology. It's not something that I am super well versed on. I don't love it, but I did like A Fate Inked in Blood, so I'm excited to continue with the series here soon. But yeah, this is kind of my mishmash of mythology books that I think look good together. And that's, you know, as good as we're gonna get right now, but I'm not super eager to read most of these. Continuing, we have the first shelf of the Romantasy. The Romantasy shelf has grown significantly over the year. A lot of these I have not read. A lot of these have come from book subscription boxes, so I kind of just have plans to hopefully read a lot of them, but also like I'm iffy about some of them because they're book subscriptions, so I don't know. But shelf 1, this is my next shelf of almost fully read books. I'm taking out the Wooing the Witch Queen. I have not read that one yet, but the rest of these, okay, my bad. I've reorganized the shelf since showing it to you. Heavenly Bodies is one I have not read. I haven't read A Song of Shadow and Starlight either, but this is a bestie's favorite, so I will be reading it here shortly. I'm very excited. But the rest of them, oh boy howdy, they are, okay, just kidding. I lie. I'm a liar. Powerless, haven't read it. It's on the TBR. Oh my god. The rest of these now are primarily 5-star books or very loved books that I've enjoyed for one reason or another. So there you have it. Mostly elf and witch romantasy. And then you go down a shelf and these are my vampire and dragon romantasy books. So we've got Mistress of Lies, which I loved. We have the Ashes and the Star-Crossed King and whatever the first book of that is called. And then we have all the dragon books. We've got Fourth Wing, too many, I know. When the Moon Hatched, I will be doing a plot recap here soon for that, since the sequel will be coming out soon. Look forward to that. I've also just got a whole lot of dragon books that I would really like to get to, but I love my Romantasy shelves. They're some of my favorites. They give me the most joy. And then this is my, whoops, I made an immediate TBR shelf and have ignored them for 4 months. So this is those books. I haven't read any of these. They're just books that I said I would read soon. So here you go. Ta-da! You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for getting to the end. I hope that this format worked for you. I didn't go like obviously crazy in depth on my shelves because we'd be here literally forever. So this is the quickest way I could get it to you guys and the way that made the most sense for my brain. So if there's books that you really want me to review, if whether it be in a vlog or standalone video of whatever sorts, please let me know. I would happily do that for you. I am very excited to read a lot of these things, but at the same time, there's only so much time in my world, so I can only get to so many. And obviously, I am clearly the type of person that would rather have more books unread on her shelves than read. I do intend and have plans to read more from my shelves and, be more selective of the things that I bring in, but obviously a lot are book subscriptions and I just need to be a little bit more picky about them. But mainly, I like having a lot of unread books. I like having options and things to inspire me. I don't really want only read books on my shelves, but I do also love the idea of having like all of my 4 and 5 stars just on one place, that feels good, but I don't think that'll ever quite be me. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was nice to see my shameful TBR. So I think in total I have 870 books in this house at this current moment. It's March 26th when I'm recording this. Will there be more books in my possession soon? Sure. There's 2 books on my floor right now that I have not unboxed, and I have been retail therapy shopping, and so I have been going a little crazy. I have purchased a few books that will be coming soon, so oops, it's fine. We've got lots of fun things to read. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a great reading year from here on out, and I hope that you guys are excited. I will be having a physical reading series, bunch of vlogs on my channel this year, so I hope you are excited for that. But alas, I'm gonna go. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys for my next video very soon. Bye!